Hi and welcome back to our third noble truth. This is part 4. So the last session I talked about the way the Mahayanis talk about the 12 links of dependent origination, how they are transformed. So this from my various reading and understanding. So I talk about how it's being changed. So I talk about feelings, silence, contact, and then feeling is tranquil, or maybe put it more accurately, it will be equanimous. Equanimous means whether it is pleasure or pain, they are the same. Whether it's gain or loss, they are the same. There is no high, no low. So it's more like tranquility is because it comes from an equanimous mind. That's very balanced mind. And this balanced mind, because all is one and the same, there's compassion, right? So this is something I want to correct from the last slide, the last session. Okay, so craving become contentment, and then no more clinging, there's letting go, non-becoming, no birth, no death. All right, so then I talk about this slide, I'll just move on. And then there are all these planes of liberation. When we say 4 planes of liberation, we're talking about consciousness. Consciousness has got different layers like an onion, no clear demarcation. So each deeper level of awakening, it's the level of your ability to let go or to surrender, to allow, right? To open. So these are the words. So the opposites will be tension, stress, dukkha. Opposite of tension, stress, dukkha will be open, surrender, allow, let go, release. Okay, so consciousness is a very subtle thing for you to learn to open and release. Therefore, this path requires the journey of practice. All right. So I also put this is the bodhisattva path in the Mahayana Buddhism. Actually, to be honest, it's not very different from the Theravada one. It's just a lot more detailed. A lot more detailed. I didn't study this, the 5 path and 10 bhumis. 10 bhumis of the Bodhisattva. Okay, so the Bodhisattva will go up to a certain level where helping others become less of a stress and burden. So you can say this Bodhisattva is, fully enlightened, but they're still able to come back and to help. Right, so certainly there are these Bodhisattvas on our earth realm. Although in view of particularly the Theravada Buddhists is just a handful of arahants. But when we talk about bodhisattvas, I believe there could be at least 1 million. Why do I say this? Because like during COVID, I read about a woman who runs a charity and she suffered from COVID, and her condition was quite bad, and she was in the hospital out of breath, and till the very last moment she was still working on providing help and food to the homeless, to people that needed her help. To me, that's a bodhisattva. All right, so we shouldn't I come from the Theravada tradition for many years. I also studied the Mahayana Tibetan tradition. So one thing I find about, I love and the practice of Theravada tradition, and I admire the teachers. But sometimes I find that the view can be a bit conservative, that we can adopt some of the Mahayanese view, that the fact that bodhisattvas aren't just found in monasteries, number one. There are a lot more than you think there are. Okay, so of course we're not talking about very fully enlightened beings like a full Buddha or arahant. Those are very hard to find. But the consolation here is I feel there's at least a few million bodhisattvas in our population of 8 point something billion on earth, right? So maybe let's run through this very quickly, even though I didn't study it. So I have to say that I didn't study it, and I'm really speaking from my own experience through my meditations. Okay, so don't take it as absolute. Just listen and see if it resonates. Doesn't resonate, move on. Or you can go take a class, all right? So the first path, they call it accumulation, taking the bodhisattva vow. So bodhisattva is not really someone who go and save others. It's really someone who has arisen the bodhicitta heart. A bodhicitta heart is one who is intent on awakening. Okay, and then I don't know why in the Mahayanis they also have the 4 great vows about saving all sentient beings. I mean, Thich Nhat Hanh has explained this before. There is no one here, so who is there to save all sentient beings? Rather, this is a skillful way of helping you open your heart and your mind to compassion, which is a practice. All right? Okay, so generating relative bodhicitta. What is generating relative bodhicitta in the progress? Meaning you make an effort to arise compassion in your heart, to arise the effort to want to awaken, right? By listening to Dharma, by practicing compassion in your daily life as much as possible. And of course, you practice compassion first with yourself, right? And then with the closest people around you. And then when you're able, then you can expand it, all right? So aspiring towards the absolute bodhicitta, full awakening. I'm guessing this one, I'm not sure. Special effort to gather the accumulation of merit. So when we say accumulation of merit, you must be careful. There's some people who accumulate merit and it turns into greed. You know, there's a word called spiritual materialism. Alright, by this Rinpoche. He has this book called Spiritual Materialism. In order to gain merit, you make it as if you're accumulating condominium, except not condominium, except you're like giving a lot of dana to the monastics, giving a lot of money to monastery, and just to accumulate merit, So it becomes like that kind of materialism. Alright? And I've seen this in many Buddhist places. And to be honest, my intention was never like that. My intention was always the bodhicitta, to awaken. My want to awaken is so strong. It is not that I don't give donation to monasteries or whatever, but I really don't overdo it like a lot of people I've seen. This is not a criticism. People have different understanding, so they behave differently. And this is true intention. What is intention? Intention is karma. Okay? If your karma is tied to greed, even in spirituality, and you can't see it, well, I really hope you can see it, because a lot of people think because it's spiritual, then it's not greed and there's no hate. This is not true at all. Alright? So subdivisions, I don't really know what it is. Maybe it's about the progress, lesser, intermediate, greater. Focus of enlightenment, meditating mainly on the 4 applications of mindfulness. So 4 foundation of mindfulness. Well, it's true, when you apply the 4 foundation, your mind to the 4 foundation of mindfulness, it is an intention, and with intention there's still karma, so it's still relative truth, right? Chiefly practicing the 4 genuine restraint, 4 right efforts, okay, which is very important, but it's still conditioned, practicing 4 bases of spiritual power, right? Well, when I was practicing 4 foundation of mindfulness in monastery, and then I came back to daily life, it became imbued into my daily life. I do experience these 4 bases of spiritual powers, of 4 powers like in Theravada tradition, right? Intention, effort, attention, discernment, applied to the 4 noble truths. So it looks like the subdivision, lesser, intermediate, greater. It depends on, it seems to be the deepening of your mind into the practice. Seems to me that way. And up to the second path, joining, increase of wisdom through accumulation. So accumulation means you're accumulating your practices for foundation of mindfulness, for effort to and developing the four spiritual powers or miraculous powers. I think this is related to accumulation of merit. This is not so much the spiritual materialism where you keep giving to the monastics, trying to earn good merit to go to a better place like nirvana. So it doesn't work like that. Merit is really working on your mind through application of four foundation of mindfulness, four efforts, and then changing your intention, putting effort, giving attention, and investigating discernment, right? And experience that in your heart. That's why that's the greater subdivision. Right, the second path, increase of wisdom through accumulation. So interesting. They have warmth, they have submit, acceptance, supreme attribute. Cultivating the five powers. Five powers is different from the four bases of miraculous powers. These are the 37 factors of enlightenment actually. So five powers was something I experienced in my initial journey on the four foundation of mindfulness, even in my daily life. I can see that the more I was in the present moment, the energy propels itself, When your energy is propelled into thinking, for example, the more I give to monastic, the more merit I gain, the more I can receive in material gains. You think like that, then that propels the energy of that thought. But if your energy is put into the four foundation of mindfulness, then the energy of your thought is propelled into faith, effort, mindfulness, tranquility. They call concentration, I like to say tranquil focus, wisdom, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wisdom. This will accumulate. The more you do something, the more you reinforce something, the more it accumulates. That's right. So path 1, accumulation, is right. Joining joining means the accumulation becomes these five powers. Okay, and these five powers become five strength. They become strong. They have overcome opposing factors of what? Faith opposing factors will be doubt. Efforts opposing factor will be laziness or non-effort. Mindfulness opposing factor will be non-awareness. Tranquil concentration's opposite will be distraction. Wisdom's opposite will be ignorance. So once you have experienced these five powers, they become five strength. The more you do something, it reinforces, it becomes a strength. It becomes supreme attribute. So these first two paths, the bhumis, okay, bhumi means I think attainment or something like that. I think stage of aspiring conduct. Bodhisattva who is still an ordinary being, meaning so it's very interesting. When I experienced the five powers and five strength, I thought that there was something this ignorance. Oh, am I on the path of enlightenment? No, actually you're still ordinary being. See, so they're actually pretty this bhumis, the Bodhisattva path is actually quite, now that I'm reading it and explaining on the go, it's really very detailed compared to the Theravada 4 stages. Number 3 path, seeing, direct realization of absolute bodhicitta. So it says factor of enlightenment, 7 elements for enlightenment. Okay, I think in the early Buddhists it's called another thing, but anyway, all of these are the 37 factors of enlightenment. So 7 elements for enlightenment. What are they? Natural. So at this stage, when you got direct realization, mindfulness becomes natural, discernment becomes quite natural, efforts become a bit like more natural. There's joy in your practice because they have become quite natural. Pliancy, meaning you find, because you see, for you to glimpse absolute bodhicitta, absolute truth, is through letting go, allowing, and surrendering or releasing. So because you're able to surrender, the mind becomes pliancy. Okay, it becomes very soft rather than hard. The heart, non-pliant mind, is one which has a very strong ego that thinks that whatever it believes is true and right. Okay, that's the opposite of pliancy. So a pliant mind is very tranquil, because you allow things to be, you allow. So this is a very tricky thing. It's like saying, you allow evil, Maisie? Is that true? Well, seriously, when you reach this stage, you have a lot of peace in your heart. So naturally, you will not have the intention of harming yourself or anyone like at this stage. But you cannot prevent someone else from harming themselves or harming those around them, because they are not on the path. So what can you do but allow, right? I mean, are you going to fight the world? If you're going to fight the world and not allow people to explore their life, you are controlling. And control brings along tension. Tension means what? Suffering, means dukkha. Did the Buddha go and fight wars? No. Right? Were there many wars? People fighting each other when he was alive? Yes, because India wasn't India. It was many small states, many little petty kings fighting each other. So during his time, there were a lot of warfare, conflict, poverty, all sorts of things. Did he go and interfere? No. He allowed, but did he agree? Well, he is very practical. He couldn't do anything, but what can he change? He can change those who are ready for change and who sought his help. Like King Pasenadi is one of them. Isn't it nice to have a king to seek the Buddha's help? Then the Buddha can help bring them on a path of wisdom. But you see, even though he was a counselor for King Pasenadi and Ajasattu, did they still fight each other? Yes, they did. Did he go and stop the war? No, you shouldn't do this. You should listen to me. No, he didn't. He told them what are the consequences, and they decide for themselves. Okay? So the first bhumi, the first realization, becoming an Arya bodhisattva. So Arya Sangha, like the Theravada. Okay? So in this part of your practice, there's joy. Okay? There's a soft mind. But you will still face challenges. So this will be like the jhana states in the Theravada. Okay? You have established intention for awakening, of course because you have touched that truth, absolute truth. So it will roll on if you continue, right? It's like an energy that reinforces itself. Next, meditation, the path number 4. So interesting to put meditation number 4, because to me, number 1, a 4 foundation of mindfulness is meditation. So he says, progress, meditating on and gaining familiarity with truth, realized on the path of seeing, according to the tradition of Asanga. There are 414 discards to be relinquished on this path. Let's see what they say on the factors of enlightenment. They say, Noble Eightfold Path pertains to the post-meditation of the path of meditation. For bodhisattvas who have seen emptiness, the Eightfold Path is a natural way of being. So basically, in the Theravada tradition, we practice Eightfold Path as a conditioned thing, means we intentionally do it. But at this stage of meditation, number 4 path of a bodhisattva, this is a natural way of being. The Eightfold Path becomes a natural way of being. There's no longer false intention to, I have to change this, I have to change to good intention so that I can have good karma, good merit. No, none of this. It's a natural state of being. Okay, so meditating on and gaining familiarity with truth, it means becoming familiar with emptiness, or that resting your mind in that wide open awareness, that, or you call universal consciousness, universal awareness. There's no one there. Getting familiar and resting your mind there. So you can rest this mind in meditation. When you rest your mind like that in meditation, it strengthens it. And then you bring it out in the world, and whatever challenges you meet, the real practice here is to be able to rest your mind in that emptiness amid the challenges you meet. And this is a very difficult practice, I can tell you, because I have tried. Sometimes successful, sometimes not successful. When you're 100% successful, you are a Buddha or an arahant. 90 something percent successful, arahant. Okay, I'm guessing this part, the percentage, don't take me absolute, this is just my guess. Okay, second to 10th bhumis, okay, the path. Second realization of the path, stainless morality. Like I say, it becomes natural. Third, realization of the path, illumination, presence, because of recollection with insight. Yeah, so because you have touched the absolute truth in your meditation, that wide open awareness, universal awareness, consciousness with no self. So that no self, not self awareness is very present, and that's why it's illuminating presence. Number 4, radiant as awakening factors. Burn karma, equanimity. Yeah, when you understand through your experience what is wide open universal awareness, you're able to rest there, the mind becomes more equanimous. Okay, like I say, these are different stages of awakening. They're hard to conquer. Use of skillful means, meaning because you have touched the absolute truth, you know the path, so you know how to use skillful means to help others. Number 6, manifest that presence. Attention increases towards emptiness. So does that mean you cannot function in real life? No, you still can function in real life. This is true awakening. Awakening cannot be you sit in the cave and then you only benefit yourself, or sit in your house, locked in your house, and then at home self-joy, yay, self-trance, yay. Right? You have a universal mind, so you will naturally want to share it, either in your writing, publication of books, or communicating with people. Yeah. So 7, far-reaching, uninterrupted awareness of emptiness. This would be like cessation or cessation state. Whatever touch the 5 aggregates or 6 sense base, in the awareness is your whole body, it just dissolves into emptiness. Right? So 9 is excellent intelligence. Yeah, you're great in teaching the Dharma, like the Buddha, he can see. Cloud of Dharma. Despite bodily affliction, it is embraced by space of Dharma. So number 10 would be, this is the ultimate. Even in pain, that pain dissolves into emptiness and you rest fully in emptiness. Very restful state, very relaxed state. Whatever pain there is arise, it goes into emptiness. So there was a Hindu saint, Ramana Maharshi, and an American doctor, David Hawkins, who they are both enlightened beings, but they will not be recognized in the Theravada tradition. Why do I say they're enlightened? If you go and see if you read the book of Dr. David R. Hawkins, you'll be so impressed, and you'll be convinced that only an enlightened being can write books like that about what is enlightenment. And also Ramana Maharshi, when you look at him on videos on YouTube, just looking into his eyes, he's enlightened. So both of them went for surgery in a hospital. They both did not take anesthesia. Okay, no anesthetic, nothing. Doctor cut them open, they were calm and they were very composed in surgery. So can you imagine? They are definitely enlightened. So 5, no more learning. Complete enlightenment is reached when the most subtle cognitive obscurations are overcome, what is called the Vajra-like Samadhi. So basically, Samadhi itself is an immersion into the emptiness. You don't get stuck there. It's like an open door, like I shared before. Open door, open space. Anything can come, anything can go. It doesn't get stuck. Okay, that is Vajra-like, diamond-like Samadhi, which is enlightenment lah. So today's Hinduism, they don't call it nirvana, nibbana. They call it Samadhi. Actually, Samadhi, I think I read somewhere, if I'm not wrong, that is a word coined by the Buddha. Okay, and then later the Brahmins, they use it. I think so. So I only intended to explain that in a short, like finish the Mahayana bhumis path quickly. I didn't know I took so long. I'm so sorry. Okay, so yeah, so like I say, there are stages of awakening. It's not like you awaken then you're fully awakened. It's not like that. So this is from Dika Nikaya 18. The Buddha, every time someone passed away, Ananda like to ask the Buddha, where did this person go? Where did that person go? Right? So this is one example. The Buddha was explaining the rebirth of devotees all over the nation. And over 50 devotees in Natika have passed away, having ended the 5 lower fetters. That means they are reborn spontaneously in the pure abode, pure land, what the Mahayanis call pure land. They'll be extinguished there, not liable to return from that world. That means they are non-returners, anagami. Okay, although in the bodhisattva path, according to Mahayanis, anagami can still choose to come back because they made an intention. All the difference is intention. Okay, so you must understand Buddhism, spirituality, or any spiritual path that help you realize that all is one, one is all, because that will be an equanimous mind, and therefore there's compassion, and realizing one is all is one is wisdom. It's not a selfish path. To open your heart, to open awareness, how can it be closed, tension, contracted? Because that would suggest selfishness, right? Only when you're selfish, you can't get what you want. You feel very contracted in your body, so you feel frustrated. That's very that is like a sense of selfishness. There's dukkha there because there's a lot of self. So in the Mahayana point of view, or Vajrayana Tibetan, there's no such thing as anagami, because you can make the intention to come back and help. And in terms of those who don't make the intention to come back and help, the anagamis, they want to be extinguished. Is it mainly to extinguish their suffering? No. Because when they extinguish the self and their suffering, they're really re-entering back into the energy of emptiness and sharing that energy of love and peace with the universe. So they're still sharing, just that there's no more personality there. So it's not a selfish thing. Okay, all right. So anyway, I'll just move on. Now that you understand, I hope you understand. So you say 50 people became like anagami, 90 people became like saganagami, meaning once returner. Okay, 500 devotees passed away, ended 3 fetters. They are shrimp enterers, not liable to be reborn in the underworld. So again, this is another thing the Mahayanis would contest lah. Because if you have certain enlightenment, means you are compassionate ma. Why wouldn't you go underworld to help? That's why they have the bodhisattva. Which is that bodhisattva name that goes to help other people? 地藏王 I know this in Chinese. It's called 地藏王, Kitsagabara or something like that. I cannot remember. Okay, so that is the difference in the teachings of the Theravada and the Mahayana. So this may sound wrong to the Theravadins, since I'm a Theravada practitioner. This may sound wrong. I don't refute the Mahayanis' point of view because logically it makes sense to me. I think spiritual practice is very personal. How do you want to help? Do you want to dissolve this self so that it merge with the rest of universal consciousness as an energy that envelops earth to help all beings? Or do you want to come back individually to help? Of course, it sounds very scary. Come back as an individual again? What if I forget my enlightenment practice? Yes, there's a danger you might, although most likely you won't. If your bhumi, the bodhisattva bhumi is very high, So it's really a personal choice. There's really no right and wrong, so no judgment here. Okay, so as you can see, many lay people, right, have attained enlightenment. Fruits of the path. So the Buddha said, monks, when four things are developed and cultivated, they lead to the realization on the fruit of stream and tree. What for? Associating with true friends, meaning wise people, listening to true teaching, wise teaching, rational application of mind, meaning you view your life experience through the lens of the Four Noble Truths, and practicing in line with the teaching. Okay, so when you say practicing in line with the teaching, the Buddha is not authoritarian. He's not going to force you. This is spoken to people who really want to try who really are sincere, want to try the the path taught by the Buddha, and they trust him. Alright? So when these four things are developed and cultivated, they lead to the realization of fruit of stream and tree. Okay? Same for the once returner, non-returner, and arahant. So you see, you develop these things over and over and over again until it deepens. What is the happiness of a stream enterer? Stream enterer has experiential confidence in the Buddha. Experiential confidence means, I think I shared in the previous session, you have faith in the Buddha by not repeating what the Buddha say to other people, but your true faith arises because you have tested his teachings. You have tested it like a scientist. Number two, noble disciple has experiential confidence in the teaching. So this relates to what I said. Yes, experiential teaching in the Sangha again relate to what I said. People who practice the same, practice what the Buddha taught, will that if you're on the way, if you're practicing what the Buddha taught and you're on the way correctly, the right way, or the wise way, then you will have the same experience as your fellow friends who are practicing the same. And therefore, you have experiential confidence in the Sangha, people who are practicing. So, stream enterers, ethical conduct is loved by noble ones. Unbroken, impeccable, spotless, unmarred, liberating, praised by sensible people, not mistaken, and leading to immersion, which is samadhi. Okay, so this is not ethical conduct where it's very forced. You can tell that it's pretty natural. And this ethical conduct is overwhelmingly compassionate with wisdom, yeah, not without wisdom. How to nurture happiness for lay people? As a lay person, how can you nurture happiness? So these are four kinds of overflowing merit, goodness that nurture happiness. What for? When a disciple has experiential, I can't emphasize this enough, experiential confidence, not blind faith in the Buddha, the teaching, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. He lives at home, rid of the stain of stinginess. You see, stinginess is not just giving materially, it's giving away your time, giving your ears to listen, not to only talk about yourself, what you think other people should do. Generosity really is listening to people, Are you generous enough to listen? Alright. Open-handed. Open-handed means you're very open-minded loving to let go. Loving to let go. Allowing people to have a choice, to make a choice. Of course, if you have children, you cannot expect them to make a choice. You have to guide them first. But how do you guide them? You can guide them with choices. You can give them choices too. You don't need to force them. You can ask them to reflect. In fact, when I was studying childcare in Australia, I find one thing very helpful that they teach. What do they teach? Which I think is very good. They taught me that even children Even children, 3 to 6 years old, you can talk to them like an adult. They can be reasoned with. After all, in Buddhism, it's all rebirth, right? That means these children were adults before they died. They came from somewhere, right? It's just that with the children's body, their consciousness is not fully developed. But you can speak to the spirit side of them. They are actually very reasonable one. I've spoken to 3 to 6 years old, and they understand things. You just talk to them like adults with simplified words. You don't need to treat them like an authoritarian. It's not needed. Yeah. And then I also admire something on how they treat children, which is not just speak reasonably to children, but before you speak with children, before the word come out from your mouth that is negative, no, don't do this, no, don't do that, it's very bad for you. Asian parents are very prone to doing that. They don't do this kind of thing in the Australian education. You have to think of ways instead of just saying no, 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 which you're limiting them, you're sort of suppressing them. Instead of using the word no, think of yes, you can do that, but or however you can consider this or that. Talk in such language. Alright, so you can actually engage children this way. Alright, so yeah, loving to let go. So letting go means allowing not just adults but children to make their choices by speaking in that positive manner, not toxic positivity with over optimism, but when they want to do something immediately, you think no, that's not good for you. You must, yes, you can do that, but it may bring that consequence. Is there another choice you can make? Talk like that. Loving to let go, allowing other people to make choice. Committed to charity, that is charity also. You don't misunderstand charity as just giving money, giving things. Charity is having compassion for someone's hurt, for someone's stubbornness, for someone's irrationality. Having compassion for that is also charity. Loving to give and to share, alright? So this is the fourth kind of overflowing merit. Goodness that nurtures happiness. Right? So the third noble truth in brief. Choices cease when ignorance ceases. Choices cease when ignorance ceases. When you realize that everything is the same, there's no more duality, pain and pleasure are equal, gain and loss are equal, fame and bad reputation are equal, men and women are equal, good and bad are equal. When you have that, when you realize that they are equal, do you still need to make a choice? Well, living in our daily life, we still need to make a choice, but that choice will no longer come from measuring the good and bad to gain merit. You understand me? When you want to gain something, that is already the 8 worldly winds, gain and loss. That is still karma. There's no cessation of karma. Karma ceases when ignorance ceases. So when you have glimpsed that universal consciousness, universal awareness, that truth in your heart through contemplation and meditation and study, then a lot of your choices will come from love and compassion. And when it comes from love and compassion, if you remember the St. Francis prayer I talked about before, that would be the middle way. Therefore, there is no left and right, good or bad. Then that is when choices cease, karma ceases. So again, it's not a one-time thing. Okay? It's not a one-time thing. Enlightenment is different stages. So that's all. Sorry for dragging out this session again. See you for the next session for Noble Truths. The fourth Noble Truth.